The thing that is driving me is that I want to ensure that you hear from everyone who was on this program, because everyone is fantastic. They all represent incredible perspectives, points of view, so on and so forth. And then there will be an opportunity for you to have talk informally with people at the end, and the bookstore will stay open for about half an hour. Our next presentation is one that is particularly interesting and exciting. You heard me allude before to a double entendre, Project Gravitas or Project Gravitas. The founder and, I guess, president of Project Gravitas is Lisa Sun, who is quite a remarkable person and made a transition, if you will, from the world of McKinsey and consulting, taking many of the skills that she learned there and applying them in an innovative way to an area of interest that was also a love of hers, which is fashion. And the title of her presentation is Project Gravitas, Reconceptualizing the Little Black Dress, Every Woman Secure in Her Polished and Personalized Style. And it's a real pleasure to introduce her, and I think many of you will find this absolutely fascinating. And she's a fantastic speaker. So, without further ado, Lisa Sun.
Works. Hopefully that works. Hi, I'm Lisa Sun. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Lisa, for the invitation to share our story today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the theme of the day, which is icons, iconoclasm, and innovation. And part of what I do is talk a lot about the little black dress. It is iconic, right? All of us have one. We all have one we love or wish we had again. And the key question for us when we started this company was, how do we innovate off of it? Because you can walk down Fifth Avenue right now, I guarantee you can buy at least 100 little black dresses. So why is ours any different? Hopefully he's gonna get us started. But I'll start with a little bit of, I always call Project Gravitas a beautiful contradiction. This company has a lot of inherent contradictions built into it, and hopefully at the end of the day, we think it's quite beautiful. A little bit about my story and why it's a contradiction. I grew up in Rancho Cucamonga, California, which very few people know, although Bugs Bunny popped out of the hole in Cucamonga, if you ever watch it. It's about an hour east of LA in the desert. And my parents were immigrants. They came here with no money. My father worked on a loading dock, and my mother worked on a hamburger truck. And they saved up enough money to own restaurants, convenience stores, and a scrap metal business in Fontana, California. I graduated from Yale, and I had taken the MCAT, the LSAT, the GMAT, and the GRE. I had applied to med school, law school, English grad school, and at my graduation dinner, my father said, "Lisa, you come work for me." So I worked at a scrap metal yard in Fontana for 2 years. Nobody spoke English, estoy aprendiendo español. And I learned what it meant to be an entrepreneur. My parents sold that business, and my mom said to me, "Lisa, you now have job again. You go school?" I said, "I'm going to go to this thing called McKinsey & Company," which some of you may know. It's a management consulting firm. And I spent 11 years there. Thank God for these genetics. Okay, 11 years is a long time to be on the road 300 days a year. And I ultimately went on to lead McKinsey's global luxury fashion and beauty practice, which meant I worked with the CEOs of global retailers, brands. Some you'll know, I sat in the Louis Vuitton supply chain for a year, making sure they never had a discount on a handbag. After 11 years at McKinsey, I took my first vacation in 13 years by myself, and I went to a Greek island where they had no cell phone reception, no internet reception, and no cars. And I spent 6 weeks on a beach in Greece. And I was reading Walter Isaacson's Steve Jobs biography. And you all remember the Stanford commencement speech, "Connect the dots of your life." And so I sat on a beach and I thought about my life. And I said, you know what? I'm going to draw the Walter Isaacson Steve Jobs timeline. You remember he talked about 5 moments in his life. And so I was sitting at a Greek restaurant and I had a napkin and a pen. And I drew 5 moments of my life. And I said, there's some magic in these 5 moments. The first is, that's my first day of work at McKinsey & Company, sweet young thing. I had a pimple. And my mom said, Lisa, you work in business. You must wear button down. So she took me to Armani Exchange and she bought me that button down shirt. A year later, I was sitting for my first professional review, and my reviewer said, let's read your review together. And the first line said, Lisa comes across as young and overly enthusiastic at times. She should seek to have more gravitas. I didn't know what the word meant. I went to Yale and I didn't know what the word meant, right? So in 2001, there was not high-speed internet at my client, so I literally had to go find a Merriam-Webster dictionary, and I read the definition of gravitas, and I said, she's right, I got none of that. And one of my female mentors at the time pulled me aside and I said, how do I get gravitas? I'm a pretty smart girl, I work really hard. And she said, go buy a new dress, wear big jewelry, and great shoes. I was really offended by this comment, by the way. I said, I dress okay. And she said, go buy a new dress. Go buy a new dress tomorrow and show up at the meeting with the CEO in a new dress. And 10 years later, I thought about that comment sitting on the Greek beach. And I said, you know what she was really telling me? She was telling me, go see myself differently. And if I saw myself as smart and confident on the outside, I give others permission to see myself that way too. And it was that first lightning bolt moment where I said, you know what, gravitas is about the intersection of the inner and the outer. And that fashion is not a frivolous thing. Fashion has an emotional and psychological power over how we take on the day. In 2005, I became a manager at McKinsey, and at McKinsey, they do these 360-degree reviews where everybody reviews you, and you get your review at the end of the year. And the thing that came out, my reviewer sat me down again and said, this is a problem. Only 2 out of 20 people want to work with you again. Okay? And it was heartbreaking. That actually broke my heart, that only 2 out of 20 people wanted to follow me into battle. And they said, don't worry, we're going to fix this. We're giving you a life coach, Glo Harris, for a year. And you're going to meet with her once a month, and she's going to teach you what it means to be a leader. And I spent a year working with this woman, and by the time I left McKinsey, 20 out of 20 people would work with me again. And I always share this as an important life moment because no one's born with gravitas. You learn it. Someone teaches it to you. And part of the mission of what we do is we show inspiring women. We give back to charity, and I'll talk a little bit about that, based on women who really want to make a difference in this world. And so one of our 6 core values as a company is mentorship matters, and gravitas is something you teach and learn and promote. 2006, it's easy to win a Best Dressed Award in Washington, D.C., okay? The Washingtonian magazine named me Best Dressed Woman. I was a size 16. By the way, I've been a size 22, a 16, a 8. I've been every size. I used to weigh 300 pounds. And they gave me this award at 6, and I was a size 16, and I thought, you know what? Fashion shouldn't be about numbers. And when I start my own fashion brand someday, we're going to produce our collection 0 to 22, because that's the right thing to do. And so that's why I share this moment. That's the 20 out of 20 would work with you again, by the way. I like to show that so people don't think I'm a bad leader. And then after I left this Greek beach, I had this napkin, and I went and visited my mom in China. My parents live in Asia again. And she said, Lisa, you leave big job again. What you going to do with life? I so worry about you. And I said, I don't know, I got this napkin. So something's gonna come out of it, I'm pretty convinced. And she said to me, you know what, how much money did you save? And I said, oh, you know, I've saved this much money. She said, oh, good, you go bet on yourself. You go start own company. And I thought, that's a good idea, Mom. But my mother actually, we share a business manager in Chicago, so I was sitting in Shanghai. And I went to bed, and the next morning I woke up at 9 a.m. and I had 20 emails. My lawyer saying, your mother has asked me to start the paperwork for an operating agreement for your LLC. The accountant saying, your mother has transferred half of your life assets into this small business banking account. Here's your federal EIN tax paperwork. When are you back in New York? And our business manager saying, I hope you know that you won't be able to buy any Prada handbags for a while. So I got on the plane from Shanghai to New York City October 12th of last year. I dusted off an old business plan, and I landed at 11 a.m., and at 1 in the afternoon, I was in the lawyer's office signing all the paperwork to start this company. And I share this because Project Gravitas is a personal passion. It's my life's work. It's not a job. And our tagline for the brand is own your moment, because when you have Gravitas, you can own any moment, and when you reflect on the moments of your life, they tell a very beautiful story. So that's a little background behind what we do in terms of why I named the company Gravitas. I own the trademark to the word, which is kind of exciting. I own the word Gravitas now in 5 classes of service. But the real thinking behind the brand was, how can I give people Gravitas? How can I make something that when they zip into it, they have an emotional connection and they feel power when they put it on? Just as a fun thing, my mother is a very deep influence in my life, and when I started the company, she went to the temple, by the way, and she lit a candle for me. That's the $50 candle, not the $10 one, because the $50 one means that a monk is praying for you 24 hours a day. They have a temple where they always have a monk praying. And she went to Pingxi, which is the northern part of Taiwan, and she lit a sky lantern for me. Orange means money, so that's why she did that for me. So what is Project Gravitas, and why do I tell that story? Well, we are that dress. And I love to say that all of us have a safety blanket, right? We wear 10% of our closet. All of us have one dress that we go, well, I have a meeting, I have an event, I have a party. Thank God I bought this dress. And why don't they make it in more colors? And why don't they ever make it again? And a single dress can transform your wardrobe, just like I had that experience when I was 23 years old. And so we aspire to be that dress in women's closets. And this is an unretouched photo, before and after, of one of our models who's a size 14. And she came onto set in this dress, and then we put her in our Catherine dress. All of our dresses are Italian fabrics or Japanese fabrics. They are socially produced. I don't know if the last panel's here. We actually have certifications around the types of fabrics we use. Made in New York City. We own a factory on 38th and 8th, so we control production locally. And we build shapewear. And I always do this in speeches, and it's a little dangerous. We build Spanx, basically, into the dress. It doesn't roll, it doesn't tuck, it doesn't move. And it makes you, just give you that slimming control that you can have all day, because I wear a lot of Spanx. But what's great about it is it's a combination product, right? It's a product that's been built together from an innovation standpoint. And it's under $300. So we sell direct to consumer. We don't have a retail markup. So we're giving people a $500 to $600 dress that's under $300, because I believe everyone deserves to have Gravitas. Each dress is named after a great woman in history. I'm currently wearing Simone de Beauvoir, and we give 10% to charity every month. We have a prominent woman wear our dress for 30 days, and she gives 10%, or we give 10% of her favorite dress to charity. That means 365 days a year we're giving back, because Gravitas is about giving back. We've had the president, Mark Jacobs, raise money for Vision Spring. We raised money for the CFDA. Last month we raised money for Vision Spring. The Huntsman Cancer Foundation this month is Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. So every month we feature a different woman and a different cause. How do we do it? I think this is probably the innovation part of it, because everyone has a dress. Everyone has a great dress. You can go buy a great dress. But why is ours any different? The first is, I think that if you're going to be innovative in any market, there's 2 dimensions that you have to excel on. One is you have to give a functionally differentiated product. It has to be something that I cannot already find today. The second part is you've got to put an emotional call to action to it. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we do that and why we think it's innovative. The second is we've built a business model, a back-end business model that is a best of Frankenstein business model. And this is part of my journey of being 11 years at McKinsey. I've served fast fashion retailers, I've served luxury retailers, vertically integrated brands. And what we did is we chose different parts of different brands, and we said, we love this from Zara, we love this from Vuitton, we love this, and we actually put together a differentiated business model for how we go to market. And the last part, which I'll talk about, is we're not a brand, we are a project, and there's a very important reason why we have the word project in our name, and I'll talk about that. But functional differentiation. So one thing, does anyone know Cole Haan's stiletto shoes with Nike Air technology? Isn't that kind of amazing that there's a comfy stiletto on the market, right? Or BB cream, any woman wearing BB cream, there's like 10 benefits in one product. And I thought to myself, why can't we do that with a dress, right? Dresses really haven't moved, except for 3D technology, which is very exciting. But dresses haven't moved very much, right? In terms, silhouettes change, but why hasn't fundamental technical construction or performance be brought to a dress? Lululemon yoga pants are amazing, right? They make your butt look really good. So I drew this chart when I started the company, which is I want to give women tailored clothing. I want it to feel luxurious, so I want to have made in New York City construction, luxury fabrics, and we use Riri zippers. If anyone's in the industry, they know the Riri zipper is the amazing zipper. And shapewear, right? We want to build something that has a performance feel. So every day when I put on our dresses, I feel like I'm putting on my Lululemon yoga pants. I'll turn around later. You all can check out how good my butt looks. And I wanted to make it accessible. So under $300, it had to be as good as a luxury dress, but very affordable for almost every woman in the workplace. It's the dress I would have wanted to give my 23-year-old self if it had existed. And just to give you a sense of how it works, basically, and this is our patent. We actually hold the patent on this construction. If you take any of our dresses and you unzip them, you'll see that there's a shapewear slip basically built into the bust line right below the bust. And it has a lace undergarment as well. So if your gentleman caller is looking at your legs, he won't know that you're wearing shapewear. So no Bridget Jones's moment for anyone. But that is the functional difference. And we hope that we deliver on all of those elements every day as we produce these garments. I came from the factory before I came here. The second is emotional twist. And this is where we believe we're going to win, because someone could go out and create the similar product. So why is it that ours will win? We have wrapped up ourselves in gravitas, right? So we talk about prominent women that we love and we admire, and we ask them to give back with us. One woman called me. I answer 5 customer emails or 5 customer calls a day personally. So if you do call 9 a.m. to noon and want to talk to me on the call center, you will. I will pick up the phone Monday through Sunday. And one woman called me and she said, I won't mention that brand, but I put on my other dress and I don't get emotional. I put on your dress and I feel like I'm putting on gravitas for the day. And that was probably the best compliment I've ever received about what we do. Another woman went on a job interview and got a job, and she sent an email to to our customer contact center and said, I got the job and I'm convinced it's because I was wearing your dress. You gave me a miracle dress. In addition to that emotional call to action, we hope we give aspiration too. So one of the things, if you do come to projectgravitas.com, we style every dress 30 ways. And in fact, I did the challenge for August and September to wear one silhouette of a dress for 30 days. I did not wear the same dress. I wore the same silhouette of the dress for 30 days. And I love this idea that our dresses are canvases. They're canvases for however you want to dress them up or you put your personality on them. And this is one thing that I did. I traveled 300 days a year. I packed one carry-on bag, and that meant I had 2 dresses, 3 blazers, and a number of great accessories. So I went around the world on a weekly basis with just 2 dresses. So this is the other thing we do in terms of offering an emotional twist. The second part of what we do is we challenge the business model. So a lot of folks who've been in fashion know that you have a supply chain, you have a distribution network, a wholesale distribution or owned retail. And I said, let's pull apart the entire model and reinvent it. So the first part of our 4-part business model is, I love the idea of narrow and deep, famous for authority. So if you come to our site, you won't see a full collection. By the way, because one of our core values is uncompromising passion for new and needed product. If it's not needed and it's not truly new, we should not be making it. We will not make a blazer, because I think J. Crew makes a pretty good blazer. So we only do things that we can be different on, that we can be innovative on. And so as such, we did a narrow and deep assortment. So right now we're in dresses and pencil skirts, because I believe we can give shapewear innovation and a differentiated product in those categories. But the key is we use 6 different fit models. Most brands will use 1 or 2 standard fit models. We use 6 different fit models with 6 different body types and 6 different sizes, which anyone in fashion knows that that's a very complicated enterprise. And the sample development costs are 10 times what a traditional dress sample development cost would be. But I was committed to, if anyone came to the site, at least 2 dresses would look good on your body type. And it's like when I say Ralph Lauren, you say polo shirt. Vince, you say sweater. DVF, you say wrap dress. That is the iconic part of our business model, but it's also where we wanted to bring innovation in terms of changing the way in which we offer the collection. The second, and this is really related to our Made in New York philosophy, is we're evergreen with sizzle. It's the Louis Vuitton business model. The reason why Louis Vuitton doesn't discount is they have less than 6 weeks of on-hand inventory. 80% of the collection is repeatable and reordered like a basic white t-shirt. 20% is fashion, right? When Marc Jacobs used to graffiti a handbag. Those were planned incredibly lean, fast turns, sell out quickly. Most of the margin is made on 80% of the collection. So when you come to our site, you'll see that we have a core collection that will never be out of stock, although we are out of stock right now on a few things, and I'll talk about that for a reason why. But those are things that we repeat into because I don't ever want a woman to say, I love this dress, why don't they do it in navy? We do it in navy, we do it in gray, we do it in black. And then about 20% of our assortment is limited edition capsules that we release, and our designer oversees that production personally and hand numbers each piece. So we'll do 50 to 100 units of each of our, I have the limited edition collection on today, but these pieces are artisanal, they're done in small batch runs, they actually introduce sizzle. So if you love a style, we've reinvented it just for that season. Vertical faster fashion, so if anyone knows the Zara business model, it's deep fabric positions, standardized color palettes, fast turns. And so what we've done is we take very deep fabric positions and we hold them in our New York warehouse. And what we do is we cut to demand based on the cutting tickets for what's selling and performing. So we actually break size packs. And something that's really unique about New York City is you can break a size pack. You can change the minimums. If I was doing overseas productions, I'd have to hit very high minimums and carry a lot of working capital and inventory on finished goods. In this instance, I actually carry most of my working capital in fabric, and I cut to demand based upon what's performing and selling through. So it allows us to run a much leaner working capital model. And we're direct. So anyone knows Warby Parker, Everlane, Bonobos, right? What's brilliant about these models are they're eliminating the retail markup, and they're allowing consumers to access luxurious product at an affordable price. And I was really committed to that. So this is our business model. It is a Frankenstein. I am pretty open about this, and it is not without its challenges on a daily basis to make sure we can get product into people's hands that they love. I'm just going to show you an example of what I meant by narrow and deep authority. These are our 6-fit models, size 2 to 16, or 14. Molly actually, we do 14, we grade up to 16 for her. And I love the idea that every shape is beautiful and every size is beautiful. And this, I believe, is one of the reasons we will win, is because as soon as you come to the site, there's at least 2 to 3 styles that you're going to love, as opposed to saying, I have to go to this brand because it fits me best. We hope we're able to serve a larger population. We're going and introducing 18 to 22s at the end of this month, which I think is also really exciting and is something that is a growing market for us. We make in New York City. I was going to play a video, but I know we're short on time. But if you go to our YouTube channel, you can actually get an inside peek into our New York City factory. I'm really very proud of our factory. Our factory offers health benefits. It's got incredibly good working hours. It's one of the best factories you'll ever see in New York City, and we're expanding it. And I talked a little bit about the third thing, the third pillar of why we believe we're different. My design director is 25 years old, okay? And my creative director is 40 and was the first creative director at Net-a-Porter. And when I started this company in October, the 3 of us were sitting around talking about the brand. Okay? And we were saying, here's the color palette of the brand, this is what it stands for, this is how we actually express ourselves, this is our identity, this is our voice. And I love my design director because she said, I don't get it. What's a brand, right? That's like 10, 20 years ago, right? Where you'd have this top, and I worked with all these luxury brands that would control the brand and control the voice and say, oh my gosh, you know, we can't do that because it's not on brand, right? And they talk to the customer. And my design director said, that's not how brands work these days, right? It's a dialogue. Why do you think Warby Parker's doing well? People feel a part of it. Take a picture in your glasses. Why do you think Nasty Gal does well? People want to be just like her. She's Instagramming every day. And she came to us and she said, I'd like to propose that we're not a brand, because the company was called Gravitas. She said, I think we're a project. I think we need to invite people to be a part of the story that we're telling. I think we need to let people have it. Let them own their moment. Have them post pictures of themselves in our dresses. Let's not always feel like we have to use the fashion models to do it, the work for us. Let's let people be a part of the story. And so what you'll see on our site is we do this thing every month called The Project, where we invite an inspiring woman to wear a dress for 30 days, and we give the money to charity, and she tells her story. And she talks about it. On the left, you'll actually see my team raised money for the CFDA's Fashion Manufacturing Investment Initiative in August and September, and they wore the dress for 30 days. And I love this idea of people feel like they're a part of our brand. People call us or email us and say, I really feel like I'm part of a sisterhood. And then on our site, we also ask people to post customer photos of themselves. So if you're wearing our dress and you're owning your moment, you can hashtag it. We present it on our blog every Saturday. And then we also allow people to upload directly onto the site. And a lot of customers love this feature because sometimes you're looking at a size 6 model, who's our e-commerce model. You're like, I wonder if it'll look good on me at 12 or size 2. And so if you go on the site, you'll see women who've posted photos of themselves and shared their story. And they'll post usually the size they are. So I just saw yesterday, I approved in a review of a woman who looks amazing in our Valentina dress in a size 14. And she felt so confident at her Thanksgiving dinner celebration. And the last thing I love to talk about is who we serve. A lot of people, as we've shared our story, have said, well, what's the valuation of the company? Or what are you going to do to exit this thing? And I always say to them, I refuse to answer that question. That's actually the wrong question to ask. The real question is, what are you doing it for? And I always say we do it because I wake up every morning and wait for those emails from customers to say, you've made a difference in my life. You actually did something for me where one woman from Canada emailed us and said, I've never found an LBD that fits. Thank you for the LBD that finally fits me. And so we do Customer of the Week sessions every Monday as a team. Next to our microwave, we have customer feedback, what's working, what's not working. Our designer, which is very rare in the industry, sits down with the returns forms once a week, and she reads why people are returning dresses. And she figures out if it's a fit issue, if it's a style issue, or is that we need to offer a different style for the customer. But very few designers will sit down with the customer experience person and go through returns forms. So that I'm very, very grateful for that our team does. In closing, and usually I do this for an audience of entrepreneurs, but a lot of people ask me the question of, what do you learn so far since you started this company? And we've been very humbled and very grateful for the reception we've received from press and from customers. But as I reflect, having been a McKinsey consultant for so long, what's different about what I do now than what I did before? There are 5 lessons. The first is I've learned that this company survives based on resilience and execution. That good strategy, good ideas will only get you so far. I think we're all walking around with good ideas in our heads. But the key to making something happen is resilience and execution. This is our design director, Romy, in our New York factory. She hand checks every garment before it leaves the factory. She measures it. She looks for defects. And so every week we exit about 1,000 to 2,000 units out of our factory. And our design director spends 3 to 4 hours a day just checking garments. The second is I talk a lot about the values of our company. And here are our 6 core values. It's very hard. It's easy to write these down. It's very hard to live them. And this is one thing that I'm so passionate about in terms of our brand is you have to, as a customer, when you get your box or when you work with us as a partner or as a vendor, you have to feel our values in the way in which you work with us. And 2 in particular that I love to talk about is, the first is we have this value called every woman. Every woman deserves to have gravitas. Every woman deserves to stand a little taller and own her moment. And we did a big trunk show in February in Boston, before we even launched the company. And we asked women just to try on the dresses, not even to buy them. We had 200 women in Boston just come through and try on dresses. And our designer and I were riding back on the train, and she was very upset. And I said, why are you so upset? We had these are 200 women who are going to buy dresses when we launch. And she said there were 7 women that nothing looked good on. I'm like, you remember these 7 women? And she said, I'm going to design a dress for those 7 women. And it's our Eleanor dress, by the way. And she designed it on the train ride home. We spec'd it out, and we had it into sample development the following week. And it was so meaningful to me that she was willing to sit there with 200 women and try on all these see them try on dresses and realize that we had not served every body type and every size. The second story I love to talk about is our life's work, which is it's a personal passion. This is not a job, and I stole this line from Steve Jobs. I always give him credit when I use this. And part of the reason it's our life's work is we started the company out of my living room. Okay? So this is my living room. And we have 9 people, and we have a factory on 38th Street, which we've all moved into now. We're actually now all working out of this factory. But at the beginning, I had the shortest commute in New York City because I would take a shower, I'd open my bedroom door, and there would be the team. And I am grateful every day that my team is going to remember this for the entire life of the company. They're going to remember the days where we worked out of my living room. And they feel they have their fingerprints all over the brand and or company, and they feel ownership over it. Another lesson I've learned is a lot of gratitude and humility. One of my mentors, who's a very prominent Latin American entrepreneur, I asked him, what should I know before I start this company? And he said, every day you're going to be one of 2 people. You're going to be a stubborn, visionary asshole, or you're going to be a humble student learner. And he said, every day you're schizophrenic because you're one or the other. And the thing that I didn't realize was he was right, especially in terms of the gratitude and the humility. Every single person that has been important to me in the last 13 years as a professional has come out to help us. People that we did not expect to help us, and I've been humbled by that. By the way, the left-hand picture is my factory. When we exited the first shipment of our collection, we had lunch for the entire sewing team, and we had this incredible moment where we thought to ourselves, we actually did it. And we were very grateful, and we're humble, and we celebrate a lot, these small victories along the way. And the last thing is my mentor who said you have to be a stubborn visionary. That's the other thing that I do every day. Is the 5th lesson is you have to always believe it's going to work. And I love the stories about like the 3D printing or the global fair trade sourcing, because you always have to every day believe that something is going to change in the world, that you are making that a reality. You're introducing something that people didn't know they wanted, but now they want it. And this was an email from my mom. We had just tested our website, and it had gone down a few times. Not the way that the healthcare one did, but it did go down. And I sent my mom an email. I said, Mom, do you like the website? Do you like the site? And she said, yes, you will success, Mom. And everyone who comes into our office sees this big printout of this message from my mom, because there are days like this past week, we sold out on a number of styles, and we had to exit 1,000 units out of the factory yesterday. And I look at that on my desk at the factory, and I said, okay, we're going to make it. So that's a story of what we do and how we think it's interesting. I do put this out here. If any woman or man in the audience wants to buy it as a gift, we did have a great feature in Oprah magazine. So if you type in Oprah at checkout, you'll receive a gift credit towards your first purchase. So we hope you'll all think about trying out a dress, and thank you very much for the time.